Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
What's real? What's real? What's real? So you can go on and take that ass to you. Yeah, alright now I was in the mix. Yeah, alright now niggas still ain't shit. Yeah, alright now I'm catching up with chips. Yeah,
Ashy-ass hands,
you
man.
give shit. Just like some soul food, put your foot in it. This is that soul playing, nigga, buy with it. I'm on that soul playing, bust up the palette. I'm changing seasons, but I'm not the weatherman, man. Went into myself, found all gold puzzle pieces I lost. Went and found God just to transmute this shit I got. Up in the sky is where I live in my gold palace. Bitches say cringy, but I'm not the one that calls. Yeah, now if you see what I see, you probably not ever wanna fucking live. Like Thanos, I throw up the planets on your shelter, now you fear. Just spark, start piling, you know, fuss with the whole universe wants some action. Told in the face, you ain't shit, just a bitch, so get up all my cash, you know. I was with Buffy, stealing demons, slaying vampires. Yeah, I'm higher than all you shit.
I'm gonna get my glasses, man.
Birds I be flying thoughts, love. I got 99 pounds, but a flight ain't one. Bitch, I'ma get a shot, put it on her lap. She set you up, now I better give it up, or you'll be chilling with the air now. Be chilling with the air now. You'll be chilling with the air now. Be chilling with the air. You'll be chilling with the air now. Be chilling with the air. You be chilling with the air. Now, little nigga, back off. Yeah, I rise at the 6 a.m. in the morning. Nigga been the light on the flight. We rolling. Trying to catch you riding dirty with your bitch. That's my blowfish on the flight. The angels been the light. Demons moving shook, cause all demons ain't on shit. Soul group change the world, yeah, we mental palace. That's facts, don't need no prayer unless the fucking cash. Scared, go to church. If you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, go to church now. If you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, go to church now. If you're scared, go to church now. Little nigga, back home.
You know what I'm saying? And shit like that, motherfucker. Now check it out, right? This we gonna be talking about energy vampire talk. You know what I'm saying? Energy vampire talk and shit like that. Give me a sec. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. And pretty much, you know what I'm saying? This is not now when I break down this, don't take it negative, but just try to understand. I'm not gonna be like for too long again, just you know what I'm saying, but I just want to make this quick, right? Real, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so when I say this, don't take this negative in any way, right? So when I tell you about energy vampires, right? Now, you could be a demonic energy vampire, or you can be a godly energy vampire. Now, I'm gonna break down these two aspects, right? Now, to even be an energy vampire in the first place, you had to be in a space in your life where you were probably procrastinating, or not taking life not taking life like serious enough, right? So it's kind of like, in a sense, you want to be in a space where, if you're gonna be an energy vampire, be in the godly space, be in the angelic space of an energy vampire. Because when you're in the godly angelic space of an energy vampire, you know what you're doing is you're doing it for the sake of the community. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing it for yourself. You're not being selfish. Like, so if you're gonna be an angelic godly energy vampire, do it for God. Like, make sure everything you do is for God, right? And in that sense, right, uh whatever you're doing in your life, right? Like, you can be doing anything. Like, it can be leading to you have a creativity, you have some creative shit that you want to bring out, you know what I'm saying, you want to put out in the world, put out in the universe and shit like that. And it's kind of like, when you want to be in those spaces, but you don't really got the right amount of audience yet, or you don't really got the right amount of people or places or things yet. It's kind of like, be in a community where y'all already sufficiently in first place, in a start. So when y'all already in a start, you know what I'm saying, the way you go upon your vampire energy, it's in a godlike way. So you're doing it for God, so you're not doing it for yourself, right? So it's kind of like you want to be in spaces like those. So like, and I can't really explain to you what you should do, but you should already understand what you should do in that totality, because you know what I'm saying, you gotta be like, you know what I'm saying, we're all vampires to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying, like for us to even be a human, you gotta be an energy vampire to a certain extent. And energy vampires are just people that are just like, think about it, like if you watch Buffy and Angel, right? The allegory was vampires and shit like that. So it's kind of like what they were trying to say was the everyday people of this world are vampires in general, right? So what do vampires do? They what do spirits do? They eat thoughts and feelings. So our thoughts and feelings bend into itself and create this the stargate, the organs, the you know what I'm saying, the shit like that. So it's kind of like when you are already like in that space of being an energy vampire, you already know what you're actually doing. So it's like you're eating thoughts and feelings, blood. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit like that. This is all it really is. So that's kind of like the allegory of what they're trying to say. Like all like humans and sheeps and all that shit, and people in general are energy vampires and things of that nature. So it's kind of like uh it's kind of like when Angel being a vampire with a soul, it's kind of that allegory of just him being like in the same space as the everyday people, but he's not really a part of them. So he's his own individual person. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that in a way. But so when I say that, and like I'm saying this, like when you're with a team in general, it's like be with a team. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be with a team. You gotta be with people that think like-minded just like you. It's the same like-minded mind. So even going to be an energy vampire, it's not going to be seen as a negative way. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be seen as the godlike way, the godly way, the angelic way. Do everything for God, because that's how you do it the right way, right? Now let's say I'm gonna break down the negative aspects of an energy vampire, right? The negative aspects of an energy vampire would be like motherfuckers that like when they are search for thoughts and feelings like blood and shit like that, they do it because they're not really like genuine with it. They do it for themselves, so they're not really doing it for the bigger cause. They're not really doing it for the community. They're not doing it for like people in their everyday life. They're doing it for people. They're doing it for themselves and like family and shit like that. So they're not even and friends. So they're doing it to be seen a certain way. And you should never be in those spaces anyway, because like when you're in those spaces of doing shit for yourself and not for God, that's kind of like you being a little demon, because now you're not in a genuine like space. You're doing shit just because you're like you wanna you wanna be seen in a certain light. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fucked up. But that's like the negative side of an energy vampire, right? So there's always like a yin and yang to everything in life, right? And a yin and yang is not negative or positive. A yin and yang is just yin will be feminine, yang will be masculine. So it's kind of like there's always the broader ways on how to look at a yin and yang too. So it's kind of like whatever you want to tie the yin and yang in your life to. Like you could tie yin to be negative, you could tie yang to be positive, or you can just blatantly say, oh, negative or positive. But there's really no such thing as a negative and positive. That's why I want to say yin and yang, so y'all can kind of see like the spiritual aspects to it, like the dark and the light and shit like that, and things of that nature. But motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? We, you know, shit like that. So it's kind of like, motherfucker, we gotta be in spaces where we know what the fuck we're doing. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's always things. There's always like a broader picture, like a broader substance that we do. No puns intended. Substance, blood. There's always like a broader like way of how to live. You know what I'm saying? For you and God, because if you do it for God, then God will eventually lead it for it to be in your favor, because God sees it that it trusts you, and you're able to not give a fuck about the actual external realm. So you're doing it for God. So when you do it for God, now you're in spaces where God will bless you and rewards you in all types of ways, because God sees that it could trust you and shit like that, right? And with that being said, yeah, and that vampire whatever you want to call it, vampiric energy, right? Vampire energy, right? It's kind of like when you're in those spaces like that, you're gonna have people in your life that drain you. You're gonna have people in your life that make you like it's shit like that. Like you gotta be aware and aware enough to know the ins and out of a situation. You gotta be aware enough to know the like who's there for the who's there for the long run, or who's there just because they want to be there. Like it's like the long run will be positive because then that's how you know that they're in your life for a reason. But for just when they just want to be there just because, that's how they're being in a little demon, right? So always be in a always be in a way where you can spot these vampires from a mile away. So when you spot them from a mile away, you have different ways in how you can see shit in your life. So when you see something in your life, you see it like you see that shit for like a mile, like a you know what I'm saying, like a bird's eye view. So when you're seeing that shit from a bird's eye view, you know how much energy you should put into that. Like like you know how birds are in the sky and they're flying down, and if they see their prey, like they see some fish or they see some food or like that, they come and scoop it down. It's kind of like you. It's kind of like not all energy is good energy. So it's like what you having the bird's eye view, and you being like the flying thought. You should be aware enough to know what kind of energy you need and what kind of energy you want in your life. So it could be something like it could be something that's not in your favor at the moment, and you should be aware enough to know that that energy is not like meant for you to even transmute, because the energy is no good for you. The energy is already outdated, you know what I'm saying, or it's kind of old or old fashioned, or it's not gonna go anywhere. Like because you can already see how uh that motherfucker set their life to be, how they set their creature to be, how they set their golem to be. So it's like with that little energy, you can't even do as much. You know what I'm saying? If that person can barely do anything with that energy, what makes you think you can do anything with that energy? It's good to transmute energy when the person put all their thoughts, all their feelings, all their time, all their energy into that. Like if it's just some weak ass demon and it is giving you some energy at the moment, just see how you react to it. It's kind of like you don't even need that energy at the moment, because like you see that shit from a mile away. You see that shit how it won't benefit you in any circumstance or situation. So you gotta be in spaces where you know the right way and how to succumb to these ways of living and feeling. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're in those spaces like that, now you're in the angelic space, because now you don't you're so you see things from a different angle, so broad that you already know why people think and feel the way they do, why people do the things they do, why people act the way they act. So you're already in spaces of understanding the whole the whole broader point of view of why people even do the shit they do. So now you're in spaces of where you can even not only can you uh, uh, transmute an energy that's beneficial for you, but you can also uh, use that for your creativity, for your all that shit. So it's kind of like that's what the point of transmuting is. You should put in your gifts, your talents, your creativity, all that shit. Or even if you want to use it for like, now this if you're gonna transfer it, and if you're gonna transfer it, at least do it like that's like when you transfer energy, that's when you're already in a such a and but be careful transferring energy, because you might transfer the wrong energy. Someone might take that shit and run with it, and then they have all your now. When I say transfer your energy, be in spaces of where you already are in spaces of you already have enough energy to give. So when you give it out, you transferring it to people like minded like you, like people that think and feel like you. So you're doing it for the like God. You're doing it for the bigger picture, for the all time. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So shit like that, you already know how that shit will. Me telling you that, you should already know different ways and how that would even react or respond with your everyday life and shit like that, and things of that nature. And you know what I'm saying? And all there's all types of like things you can dwell, or you can uh uh sit on your throne, or you can you know what I'm saying, you can correspond to the real life. There's a lot of things that you could do that for if you're doing it for God in a way. So it's like you're doing it for like the like you're not doing it for no what's that word I'm looking for? You're not doing it for no time reference. Like you're not doing it for no matter. You're doing it for what matters to you. So the matter in the external world is not really a real thing. The matter within you is the real thing, because that's the real power. You know what I'm saying? And you're in spaces of now understanding each and every line of event and how it will play out in your life. So when you're in situations like that, you're in spaces of wear of you don't have to wear and tear with your body and the physical. You know what I'm saying? Like in the spiritual realm, you'll already be playing out certain roles, certain virtues and principles that how it can benefit you in your life, and then you can bring that shit down here. And then when you wake up, or when you come back to 3D, you have all types of new ways how to think and feel, and then and you have no choice. But like sometimes, like, because I ain't gonna lie to you, sometimes when, especially angels, sometimes when we wake up, it's like we it's we don't even want to be like, it's like we hate to even be back. It's weird. So it's like it's like it sucks, because then we always gotta remind ourselves that, damn, we're in the human bodies. Like it's fucked up. But it's like when you have a way to get back to that same space you were in the spiritual realm, whether it be how you smoke, or you listen to music, or you have some type of mantra or meditation, or you have some type of or you can even have a certain song that you go back to. It don't even gotta be like some spiritual motherfucker. It can be like any song in three. It could be some any celebrity in a way, right? You can listen to them, and they can take you back to that same space that you were in the spiritual realm, just because you know the footprints you laid down here from a broad point of view. So now you're in spaces of where when you're being like when you're being and it's not at this point, this is not an energy vampire. This is just uh uh harnessing energy for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Transmuting energy for yourself. So when you harness this shit, you know how to transmute it for your solar system, for your constellations, for your, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. So with things or shit like that, it's like things you can do for yourself. Like when you wake up, you may not feel like you wanna, like, like most times, like 9 times out of 10 when you do wake up, like if you're just a human and shit like that, and but you're with God, and you know you're with God, that's how you even transition to being an angel. So it's kind of like 9 times out of 10, when you wake up, you'll be like, you'll feel happy, you feel like all types of, you know what I'm saying, because God's with you. But as angels, when we wake up, it's kind of like we don't really be feeling like all happy and because we still remember, like, damn, we still felt these flunked out weak ass organs and shit like that. So it's kind of like we have to uplift ourselves by just even participating with this world. So we got to have some type of routine and pattern in the angelic light. That because a routine and pattern in general is hell. But when I say it was, because you got to know how to be in and out of these energies. So it don't even got to be a routine and pattern. It could be anything that can help you with your reflection and your light. So anything that can help you with your reflection, your moon and your light, your sun and moon, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like you're in spaces of where you know how to center your light, center your reflection. So you know how to get back to certain spaces of how you were even thinking as a spirit, or what the spaces you were in the esoteric realm. You can bring it down here, and that's how you really live life like that. That's how you really live life, just by having all this like all this like all this like cloud energy, like all this like vibes. It's like weird. You have a whole vibe to yourself. You have a whole like atmosphere to yourself. Like for example, like nigga, like the other day, like nigga, I went to go get some food, right? And motherfuckers, I just I knew the people there because I used to work at that certain job, but I wasn't like it was a barely it was like it wasn't too long, right? But like when I went there, motherfuckers just they said, nah, it's on the house for you. I'm like, what the fuck? All right, whatever. So I got my shit and went out. So it's kind of like shit like that. When you already carrying an energy, a persona, a vibe, people have no choice but to swim in that swimming pool. And when they swim in that beach, that whatever you create for yourself, or when they float in that cloud or anything, they can only catch good thoughts and feelings. They can only catch like feelings and thoughts and feelings that they can see themselves in, because they and then if they're like and especially if they're like demons and humans and energy vamp and shit like that, it's kind of like they they don't have anything that they can suck on. And like, because the way you create it is since you love yourself so much, you give love to the world. So you have no problem giving love to the world. So it's kind of like the space you're in, you know who you are, you know what you do, you know what you're capable of. So it's kind of like you're already in spaces where you already can connect with the world, but not being of it. So you're just being in it but not of it. And when people can sense you being in it and not of it, because the way you carry yourself, the way like people, they may compliment you and everything, but it's like, but fuck all that shit. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. It's the thing. The point is that you're carrying a certain way of living that people can never see themselves in a light like that, because they'll be looked at differently. They'll be looked at like disrespectful. It was weird, all types of like weird types of energies. But when they see you do it, it's like they see you as like their hero. They see you as their like they're like some type of like some type of like godlike energy angel creature. Like some, it's weird. So it's like, because you really are that shit. And I'm not God, but this is examples. But you really are that shit. So they have no choice but to like, I guess the best words I can say, bow down to you and shit like that. And then you gotta, once you're in spaces like that, you gotta be wise enough to know to not to smell your own ass. So not to go too far with that energy. You gotta know on like you gotta understand, understand why people even react the way they do. So because that's, because you understand angels created the buildings in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, everything. So it's like when we destroy a building, or when there's still a building that's still up there that humans still live in, it's kind of like, since they see it like a safe haven in that actual parameter, it's like that they met the creator of that actual idea. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know this is what's really going on, but this is what's really going on. It's like they met the creator of that actual idea. So when they're in their presence, like it's like they, I don't know, I can't really explain it too much, but it's like weird. But it's like, if you understand what I'm trying to say, it's like people just have no choice but to fuck with you in any way. Like, it don't matter even what you're saying, how you're even coming off, anything. It's kind of like people deep down in their heart, they don't know why they fuck with you, but it's like, but see, I'm letting you know, as a spirit, that's your power. You just having a certain aura, atmosphere to your shit. You know what's this shit on? I can go for like 5 more minutes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you have like a certain aura to you that people have no choice but to fuck with. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the whole thing that you're doing with yourself. It's like you just making like you just make, aka just like you making up your mind in a way, and you know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And once you're aware of the many bodies and forms you took as a spirit, you know that you're so much more than this weak ass vessel. Because this is the weakest organ you have at the moment. Your body, because you're in 3D. So angels are already aware that this is the weakest body we have at the moment. Like this body ain't shit. Man, I'm happy I chose this body, but I'm still deep down. I know, like, nigga, this body ain't shit. Because nigga, I can't, like, nigga, why, like, I'd be like, why can I, like, see, like, move this tree with my hands, just but like, see I be thinking shit like that, because like, if I can't do something simple like that, then this body ain't shit. That's how I see it. So it's kind of like, at this point, whatever I created, it has no choice but to mimic the minds. So however I'm coming off, however I created some sort of charge for myself, or for you, or for anybody in an environment, I know that I'm doing it for God. So like, I have no choice but to be looked as a leader, as a teacher, as a respected person, as all types of shit. So it's like, any type of stones that you throw at me, or at, you know what I'm saying, or at spiritual motherfuckers, that, and aware spirits, in like spirits that know thyself, right? Any rocks or stones you throw at us, it's like you're hurting yourself, because you're in spaces where you don't even know why you even did the things you did. And like, subconsciously, the spirit knows why you're doing it. The spirit that's in that current this current vessel knows why you're doing it. It's like the spirit be doing all types of tricks to like, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna go too far. But yeah, so it's like, when the spirit does that, it's kind of like you have no choice but to feel either regret, or feeling like some type of apology or whatever. But you feel like you're in energies where, like, it's weird, like, motherfuckers that just flunked out humans and demons that just be doing they stupid, like, doing some retarded ass shit. Like, when they do shit, it's like they don't even know why they even in the spaces that they do it. Like, and like, and when an angel does something, it everything an angel does is not wrong. Like, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like, that's what God confirmed to me. Like, anything an angel does is not wrong. Like, if an angel is acting a certain way, it's because the world made that angel do it. So it's kind of like God sees it as like as his children, right? If an angel is doing something that this world pushed an angel to do, then like we have no choice but to respond how the world pushes us to respond. And if you see the angel as negative, or if you make the angel seem crazy, or then that's on you. But the angel is not. There's no longer like the angel is no longer in ways of living like that. Like when an angel does that, it's just to harness an energy form. So when anytime an angel goes back to a form like that, not only are they more aware of that form, but they see the spirit knows what it's doing. So the spirit just uses that form like it's like a light bulb that God gets in his head, right? And God will tell that angel to go back to that way of, and it's never good to go back. But when I say go back, I'm not really talking about go back or shit like that. When I say like way back, go back that way, like it's like there's no such thing as left, back, up, down, none. It's like when I say go back, it's kind of like jumping into a form that you were already ruling, like taking over the world or some shit. You already ran worlds and shit like that and shit like that. So when I say way back, go back, shit like that, it's kind of like go back to the way you were thinking and feeling when you were in spaces like that. So you got that same energy, you got that same aura, you got the same vibe with you. So when you carry that virtue and principle, now people have no choice to see you as like some type of principal, some type of president. It's like weird. Like, and when I say principle, I'm talking about like a principle, like an idea, like some type of like, and then that now you can understand what the Bible, what they were talking about in the Bible with certain virtues and principles and how they were correlating like their own thoughts and feelings and shit like that, and how they were corresponding with their shit like that. But it's kind of like when you understand that to a T, now you can, because they were kind of lost, but like this is always good and bad in the Bible. Like there's good things and the bad things, but like at least they came up with the idea to even harness certain energies, trap certain cards. You know what I'm saying? Trap certain shit, numerology, gematria, numbers, so they can know how to live by within themselves. And that's what like theologians should have been doing. Like back in 2020 when all this COVID shit was going on, Xbox 360, PlayStation, Star Trek, shit part 2, right? It's kind of like if they were truly with God, they would already been in spaces where of way when the government made them close down churches, they should already be in spaces where they like that. Because if they were really with God, then God, whether God took them away or God made them continue prospering with their imaginations, their creativities. I'm not saying I'm saying imaginations in like the ninth house aspects of it, not the Neptune, not the 12th house aspects of it. I'm talking about the wisdom and knowledge. So if they were really with God, right, and they didn't give a fuck about this, you know what I'm saying, virus shit, right? Been in spaces of where, like, they still made motherfuckers go to church, these theologians, right? And they still preach a good word, and they would have been saying shit like, well, listen, this is God right now about to take all his children. So if we die, then we're going with God. Or if you don't die, that's a confirmation that God was always with us. And you know what I'm saying? Shit like that. If they came up with some ideas like that, nigga, do you know how fast a nigga like me, I would have been going to that church. I would every day, every Sunday, every Monday, every Tuesday, everywhere. I would even if it was every Sunday, I would came every Monday, Tuesday, because I would have showed all my support, because that's what it means. Like God needed vessels like that at a time back in 2020 like that, because then God sees it as like, okay, that's a strong spirit. Because when you're wise enough to know as a spirit, you know shit like that COVID shit was just some man-made shit. You know what I'm saying? It was some government, it was some shadow government shit that they were trying to correspond with this world to live a certain way or wear a mask or some shit, like, you know, it's all whack random bullshit like that. But it's like the ball, because no theologian was like that. All theologians were retarded at that time, by no virtue or principle. They didn't live by no idea of how they see their God and see God. Like so they dropped the ball right there. So when you got people like us, when you got people like the soul group, subconscious community preaching shit like this, but it's like we're the we're the new politics, business, religion, education, business, religion, education, politics, entertainment. We're the new all five pillars, all flight pillars, right? So it's kind of like all five flight pillars, right? So it's kind of like we're already creating our own charge, our own spark, our own everything. So when we correspond to this world, we are in spaces where we're being seen. We're seen as the enlightened ones. We're seen as the messiahs. We're seen as the prophets. We're seen as, if you want to use Jesus, you know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like we're seen as all these things, but it's kind of like we're in spaces where we're just being ourselves and we're just being individuals, and that's what spirituality is all about, being an individual. And I'm gonna wrap it up with Well, I'm gonna wrap it up right here. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold y'all right now. I want, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to go too long because my shit, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I love and appreciate all y'all motherfuckers, whoever came and watched and joined. I fuck with y'all, man. I love y'all, and we out in this motherfucker.